Yo, it's K.Dot Kidman, and you're watching Urban Download.
Yes, welcome. I'm joined with my two pals, Jendor, K.Dot, aka Kidman. How you doing, my bros? How you doing?
Yes, big up, my
All
bro.
good, all
Good,
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 brother.
good.
All
You know what
good,
it is?
all
This is
good.
the first one I'm doing like a little double thing, but there's a reason why I'm talking to you both at the same time, and you know what going as well. But I'm gonna ask each of you like what going with the pandemic, man? How have you been doing? How you been coping just from a personal, forget the music side of it, just about you from a personal perspective. Like who ready to
Um,
go first?
yeah, with me, I'll say, boy, I've just been using it as a time to just rebuild, man. Like rebuild. Like sometimes you need to spend time with yourself, bro, so you can grow. You get me? And get to the next part of what you're doing. And sometimes that takes a little bit of solitude. You get me? So
Mm-hmm.
I've been taking the good things out of it, bro. You know what I mean?
When you mean good things, like what you been doing? You've just been working on yourself or working on little
Yeah,
extra
yeah,
things? Like,
self-improvement, self-development, working on yourself. Like, you get me? You can't do that with like the normal noise of life all the time. You know what I mean? Like around
mm-hmm.
bare people, with your
Okay,
focus on bare people. You need to focus on yourself sometimes.
okay.
You get me?
What about yourself, man?
Bruv, it's first lockdown. First lockdown was like we got busy. You know, everyone's there like because we was at home and like everything in the yard got done, garden, house, everything got done. You get me? This time round, yeah, it's Groundhog Day, fam. You know the ones that man's keeping busy, but it's the same busy. You know them
Mm-hmm.
wait.
Trust
So
me.
I'm just
You just
waiting for like a bit of leniency so a man can mingle again with the public and you know what I mean.
okay, yeah, I hear that, man. Just go back a bit to a bit more normality. You know, the ones there, just
Yeah,
literally
because
just.
man's keeping to the structure, but bruv, this
There's only so
it's
much you can
bored.
do. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
like you
Mm.
get me.
Nah, I hear that. I hear that. You know what? For me today to speak to you two, even though I know gender a lot more than yourself, Kay, for obvious reasons, which we'll talk about a bit later on. But the reason why I wanted to speak to you two today is first and foremost, I bought every single rotted vinyl that you man spat on from 2004, 2005. Yeah. I could go. I used to, like I said, we've had the discussion before, but me driving to Lehigh Road, Independence Records, buying every single vinyl I can, every dub that Bossman left at Independence, I would buy it. Right. The reason why I wanted to speak to you today is because you guys were part of the biggest grime collective, not crew. I don't like that word. You were the collective of the 2000s, even up to the present day. The reason I wanted to speak to you is because I feel that you are a big influence, not only on me as being a DJ, but my whole musical career and for all the people who've lived and breathed grime. And not only that, the young generation. And I'll talk about that a bit later on as well, of how much of an impact you man have, both of you, more so Kay, because obviously you're not doing music as much now, but you still have an impact on the younger generation now. And you would have thought that 18-year-olds would know about grime, but you'd be surprised. But I want to talk to you today because I feel that there's a lot to speak about. There's a lot we need to discuss about yourselves, how you started up, whatever happened, and all the stuff that you guys went through, which a lot of people don't know, and some people know, but I'd like to know. And I think that, like I said, a lot of people do really want to know. I don't want to be hearing the BBC kind of filter. I want to be hearing, you
You
know,
want
the
that
ones.
raw? You want the
Yeah,
real?
yeah. Let's be real now. Yeah, let's be real because
Yeah.
that's what we're here for today. I want to understand about gender. I want to understand about K.Dot. I want to understand about K.Dot being in upper class. I want to understand about
Oh
gender.
my days.
Yeah, I want to hear about gender in HDC. You know them ones there. Yeah, I want to
That's
be.
it,
Yeah, to get me. That's what I want to be
HBC.
talking about. Right. So what I'm gonna ask you first, yeah, is
Yeah.
I'm not gonna talk about garage essentials first. I want to talk about you, both of you individually. I'm gonna start off with gender. I want to know about what was your name before gender, and why did you start MCing? Why? I want to know from the start, from when you woke up, like, right, I'm gonna MC. Just give it to us in a nutshell. Now, I don't want to be hearing like a 20-year thing, but just give us like a brief overview of who you are.
In a nutshell, yeah. From like 14 years old, and I used to like still interact, and I used to love Biggie, you know, the whole kind of bad boy movement and all of that shit. So I also spit like rappers bars, but on house and garage, yeah. That was our beats at the time,
Mhm.
and in my school we had a crew called High Grade Crew. It was just two man. Funk and Brains. You get me? And they're from Deptford, and I was from Catford. So yeah, we just started like doing little cassette tapes and all that, and that's where I met DJ Elsie. I met him in Lewisham, and we just linked up doing cassette tapes there. Me, Elsie, um, Brains, Funk,
But were you
and
always called gender?
I was graffitiing in school, yeah. So I
Okay.
went through a few graffiti names. I went through Choker, Chokes, Herbs was my first one. Herbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so we was graffitiing heavy, you know what I mean? Graffiti, gang shit, but young kids gang shit, yeah. And the graffiti thing kind of went out of fashion and it came back in. But yeah, so it was like half in that, half in graffitiing, and as I started getting popular in my school and that, the name what I was at the time was Hollow Man and Gender. It just meant Hollow Man and Gender. You get me? And my
Okay.
cousins call me Gender short for that. And yeah, that's where all that comes from. You get me?
Right, right.
Fast forward, I meet Any and Remedy through Elsie, and then they're like, yo, this dude's kind of cold, like, you get me? He's kind of cold. And we just done a few cassette tapes together. But I was listening to them man on radios. They was my dons for
Hmm.
me. Like I was
Hmm.
the younger one for them.
I hear
And
that.
and that's how I met Kidman and Two Twos. I was in Garage Essentials and that whole next saga started.
Hey, Kay, what about yourself? Like, were you always Kidman, K.Dot? How did you start off as being an MC? What was your influence and how old were you? So let's start off with that. How old were you? I want to know
I
about.
started I started writing rhymes. I started writing rhymes in school, but that was just, you know what I mean. Like Jen said, man was into the music. You know what I mean, the Biggies and the. I was more of an East Coast man, so I like Biggie and Wu Tang and all them, man. You know what I mean. So man was always writing at school and that, but my desire to go out there and all of that or be the guy at the time was I was about. I was under 16, I know this. I hadn't left school yet. And I went Notting Hill Carnival, yeah? And I saw for the first time Skibbity mash down the place, bro.
Yeah,
Mash down the place. Like, that the place, Notting Hill Carnival erupted, you get me? I was like, nah.
You want
Like,
some of
at
that?
that time, in my head, I'm like, I don't know how to formulate that, but all I know, I want to do what this guy just done. You get me? This guy just shut down the whole of Notting Hill Carnival. I was like, no.
That got you hungry.
Kinda, yeah. And then left school, still dabbling, you know what I mean, mixing around on the ends with man them, like doing sets at people's houses and whatnot.
But it was
When
really, it was really college though, right? That's where you found yourself.
Yeah,
Like,
college is where I was like 17. Yeah, 17. This is where I started to mix and blend with certain guys that were like doing things, you know what I mean? I met a few guys at college, big up Short Man forever, Depths. They was, what was it? Upper class. That's it, yeah. Upper class. That man was upper class. They brought me in, done a few sets, done a couple like local raves and that. But unbeknown to me at that time, Remedy and Any go to the same college.
Okay.
I know Remedy from school, you get me? Like me, Two-Face and Remedy went to the same school. So man started chatting to them and parring with them, man, and then the rest is history. Man just blended, you know what I mean? Relationships got made, and then boom, you know what I mean?
The rest is history. Look,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna talk to you, man. And say, yeah, all right, cool. You went to Essentials. You did this. You did that. What I want to know, and what a lot of people want to know, is what was it like being, not just being in Essentials, and I don't want to keep focusing on Essentials, but that is obviously what you're both renowned for, being in one of the biggest grand collectors, as I said. But what was the mood like? What was it like being in a big collective back in the mid 2000s, where grime was the biggest genre popping from the underground? Not only that, you had people who are massive fans, you had girls, you had boys. There were things as grime raves where you would go to clubs and spit, and you'd go to different countries and whatever. What was it like for you being in that environment? Anyone? That's a question to both of you.
All right. Well, I joined Essentials first, yeah, and Dot, he knew them from school. But what a lot of people don't know is that I joined first, but Dot was on radio before me, and one of the things,
Yeah, true that.
and one of the things, yeah, one of the reasons for Remmers, it was Remmers' reason is that, oh yeah, you know what, you need to get your bars sharper and clearer and all that shit. So yeah. But other than that, like the vibe, what it was like to be in Essentials, it was Remmers thing in it, like to me. And I just was just glad to be in that crew. I was the youngest one. I was just learning. So I was just listening. I was just happy to be a part of something great.
At
I
the
had to
time.
listen to this man in the block. Yeah.
So at the time, and I'll use that word loosely. At the time, you're grateful to be there. Like it was a great catalyst for both of you to get heard and to get your music out and to become, as I said, both of you one of the best grime MCs that we've ever lived and breathed. But what I really want to understand is, in reality, there's highs and then there's lows, right?
Yeah,
What I
cool.
want to understand, I don't want to have a facade. I don't want to be. I'm not trying to focus on negativity here, but being real, we people want to understand, because obviously, in 2006, Essentials kind of dispersed, right? Everyone went on their separate ways. Jendor created OGs, which I will explain. But what I wanted to, prior to that, what was it like? I mean, you were all individual MCs, individual artists, but you all were collective. But what was it like from a positive and negative perspective? That's what I really want to understand.
Go on, Chris, 'cause I know you got some things.
Positive. The positive was like, it was mad. It was a mad magic, bruv. It was a mad magic, because you know what? Yeah, we were like the Avengers of the Lewisham Borough, fam. You know them way there. We weren't all from the same hood. Yeah. Jen's from fucking Deptford, Catford. I'm from Brockley. Face is from Brockley. Rema's from Deptford. Ennie's from New Cross. None of us grew up with each other. You see what I'm saying? None of us parred with each other as adolescents. We all came together as like young men. So it was mad. It was a mad magic, the way you had different hood mindsets in one room. You get me? Coming up with a magic and then just formulating it. It was mad. It was mad. It was exciting. For me, it was exciting because at that age, same script book as Jed. Man come from the block. You know the way there? Like, it's not a thing of it gave man something to do. It was a thing of man's got something to do. You know them ones there? Man's gonna link up with them, man. Man's gonna write 2 tunes and yeah, like 8 o'clock tonight, man's going radio. For me, as 17, 18, that was exciting, blood, because I know on the other side of it, what would man be doing? Man's gonna be on the road, like with them man on the block, sell a couple drawers or something. You know them ones there, like they gave man some kind of structure on a purpose at that young age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, raw, man's got something to do here, man's got, and at the same time, you realise, Jen can vouch for this because I believe it with Jendor, that is, you realise to yourself that it's a God-given talent you've got, blood. You know them way there.
Word.
Like the way man puts pen to paper and then puts bars to record, like, do you know what I mean? That whole science and yeah, man, it's a mad,
Mad chemistry.
like it's a
But
mad magic. You know them way there.
there was highs and lows though in it. There was highs and lows in it, man.
Yeah.
As I say, it's Remy's thing, so I always looked at it like, you know, I'll follow, you get me? Like, I'll take instructions, I'll do that. But certain times, me and Rema, like, we used to kind of fall out on the old Kidman reminds me of it. He's like, you man are doing the same thing back in the day, bro. Like, but
Well, no, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean you're doing the same thing for back in the day? How do you mean?
Kid describes it as me and Rema butt heads certain times, a lot of times. I forgot a lot of shit. But
no, I wanna focus on that. Not specifically, but were you all, do you feel that you both had a lot of passion with grime, a lot of passion for grime essentials, that you both saw the vision and you saw how far you lot could go, that you were both so hungry for it, but at the same time, there was a certain person who would always want to, you know, get the last say.
Do things in their way. No, it's just a certain person doing things in their way. It's like if you got a ship, yeah, the ship's got a captain in it, and it's gonna sail where the captain wants it to go. And if you're part of that and you joined it, then more time you put your 2 pence in and say, you know what, bro, I think this is a better idea. But you just go with the decision of the whole, and it's usually the guy's thing, you get me, who formulated the thing from early. So that was Remedy. So a lot of what happened with Essentials was like under Remedy's direction. Like we done a fake split before the real split, and that was Remedy's idea. Like,
was that in 2006? That was around that time, right?
When was that? That was around it was around 205 or 204, something like that.
Yeah, Kidman's right. It was about a year or 2 years before OG.
Wow.
Because because was doing a project and a split at the same time, and then a real split happened. And the real split was Any not being on the video of So Much Better. And me and Any was like 2 peas in a pod. So I'm in Essentials. He wasn't in Essentials because he said, fuck this. And he left off the back of that. So I'm with this guy. I'm like, boy, I've got my OG project I was going to do on my own. And I'm in Essentials. I'm still with my bro. Like, you get me?
Do we know why Any wasn't put on the video of, was it State Your Name? Right?
The reason at the time, they were just saying, they didn't think his bar was strong enough, but I felt like an energy was splitting. You know what I mean? They're in the crew before that. So I could see that coming. It was like an energy thing. It's like Rema and Any was very tight, but it's like they never started splitting apart, but more started drifting apart. And me and Any was more rolling, doing our stuff. And I don't know if that had something to do with it, but it eventually got down to a point where a man saying, I don't think your verse is strong enough. And that's like, to me, I'm like, really, bro? Like, you, man, was like tag team partners when I was listening to you on the block. You get me? And for man's verse to not get accepted, or I just thought it was mad that to be brethrens, and that it was a deep thing. And I had to watch it on my man's face all the time. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to do this OG's thing for real. Because I was going to leave Essentials before that on my own. I was like, I couldn't keep up with all of the, you need to do this. Sometimes I'll be like, you know what, bro? Fuck it. I'm not in Essentials no more then. And I'm like, no. Chill, take your time and rare it. So I was going to leave before. Man.
Did you feel, because it sounds to me that the way you're saying it is that everyone was like kind of evaluated or like analyzed of like, well, right, actually, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. And for me, being a grime DJ, I have never come across that kind of behavior where someone's been like, well, Ra, brother, you got to change it up a little. Everyone was accepted for their own merits. And you would once you join the crew, that's you. You've got your own individuality. You've got your own status, and that's how you should do it. But it sounds to me that there was a lot of criticism. I don't know whether it be constructive or whether it be, or you maybe come across as constructive or maybe negative. Like, how did you look that K for you? Like, how was that for you? Did you ever come across that kind of that behavior, or was it literally you just didn't really realize about it? That it was going
No,
on?
yeah, but it was, for me, it was, the way I look at it now, it was constructive criticism, innit? Because at the same time, I know at the time man's fire, yeah? So if I lay something down and man says, rah, you know what, I don't really, I could do better than that. At that time, yeah, I'm gonna be pissed. But I know man wants me to come with a fire verse with a rhythm. But that thing where with, there was a lot more deeper with Enya and Rema. But that is,
For another day.
one's not here to tell their side.
Rest
And
in peace.
the other ones should tell his side. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones there. Like it weren't to do with the verse and that. It was a lot. To cut a long story short, their relationship broke down.
Yeah.
You get me? And as a result of their relationship breaking down,
You got taken off.
as well as other things. You know what I mean? Like, and unfortunately, it affected the rest of us.
Do you feel that their argument was the catalyst for you guys to go separate ways, or was the argument all that kind of drama after you broke up? You kind of knew you were breaking up, or going?
It was. I don't think so. I feel we could have. Don't forget, like, Any had gone and set up OGs. Jendor went shortly after. Something could have happened, but the mindset wasn't there in all of us to make it work. Even with me. Do you know what I mean? Like, once Jendor had gone, it was a thing of, I don't know, I kind of felt lost. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, rah, like, I felt like I was in limbo. Didn't know what way to go, or, do you know what I mean? Like, it was mad. It was a mad time still. That little era there was a mad time.
When you say that little era was massive for UK music and grime becoming more of a mainstream genre, because not just of yourselves, but other similar crews who are trying to come up and go through the ranks. But Essential specifically, and there's a lot of articles and a lot of people, literature, people have said that you guys should have been signed. And that is because of your consistency with your work rate, with your music, your individuality, with not only from the MC's perspective, but you got your DJs and producers at the time, you pick up Bossman and Da Vinci, and the fact that your visual content was, you were way ahead of the game back then. Like, you know, like State Your Name was a perfect example. But do you feel, what was the let me rephrase that. What was the reason why do you feel that you should have been signed or should have gone to bigger and better things from an early stage? Do you feel that's because of excuse me, grime was too in its early stages, or do you feel that there were things blocking you from moving to that path?
Even though grime was in its early stages, as you said, was doing a lot of big things and was doing a lot of stuff. I done a tune of Titch and Vortex at 679 Studio, and
Kids in the Hood days,
and they was interested in me and Dot, and we was involved in Paper Chase recordings at that time, and they had a lot of controllability over that particular situation, and that situation broke down. You know what I mean? For some other reasons, not to do with me. Man.
So do you feel that you were kind of, so what you're trying to say is there's an element of you being restricted of what you were able to do?
Oh yeah, of course, and that's one of the reasons I didn't want to be like in a situation where another man controls that for me. You know what I mean? So I just kind of outgrew it, and I just said, even though this is dope at the stage of my life, what is contributed and everything, I was like, you know, I need to move on, have more controllability over certain decisions when it comes to deals and stuff like that. Definitely.
Were there discussions about deals and things like that whilst you were in your prime? Like, because as I said, you know, there's articles where like there were a lot of journalism about grime, so they didn't help you guys get promoted to the states you should have been, and so on and so forth. Do you feel like, I'll put you the question to you, do you feel that there was a moment where you know, you should have been at that stage.
Yeah, yeah. There was times where people were looking at us, but it's like Jendor said, it's like there was a barrier in front of us. So to get to us, you had to chat to them man there. You know what I mean? So it was
Do you know what?
funny.
Do you know what's
We weren't
crazy?
restricted. We weren't restricted as a crew as to like do what we want or work. We could do whatever we wanted. But the problem we came across was the music we had made at that time.
Mhm.
We didn't own it.
I see. Get it.
You see what I'm trying to say? We just
Right.
vocaled it. So if anything had came off them rhythms that we had laid for Paper Chase, we wouldn't have made fucking peanuts. You know what I mean? So
and then also, if you wanted to go into bigger and better things, the stuff that whoever are looking at you are looking at the material that you've made, which isn't yours. So then you can't do anything with it because it has to go through the labels and whoever's behind it. So in a way, it feels like, I'm not trying to make this a whole negative interview, but I really want to say that it sounded like you guys were suffocated in a way. Like you weren't really able to do.
it weren't, bruv. You see that time of grime, them early days, yeah. This is why my advice to the young bucks coming in, fucking grab it by the horns and go hard, because the accessibility and the doors are fucking wide open for you, man. Yeah. The shit me and Jen had to do back in the day was mad. Was mad, blood.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. What was you made a very, very valid point. You said that the people of today, the generations today, in a way they've got it good because everything's so accessible. Like back then we had like just an internet, little you know, like MSN Messenger, send a rhythm here, send them, and that was as far as it goes. Little CD thing, mixtape or whatever. Whereas now everything's online. But you said for you, like it was difficult. You and Jendor went through a difficult time trying to sell your graft.
To get your name out there back in the day, the work was hard, bro.
Yeah, you have to be the best of the best.
You had to. This is why the whole thing. This is where like I love watching a live set. I love watching a set. Yeah, because that was the craft. That was how you impress and make your name. And if man don't know you, by the end of that set, man will know you. You know them ones there. This is why I love watching sets, even up to this day with these new brothers and that. I love watching sets because that's what it is. Man come in, spray, and shut down the place. You get me? Pass the mic to the next man. Spray, mush down the place. Like, the craft of it is beautiful. Beautiful, fam. You know them way there? Beautiful thing.
Week in, week out.
I mean, you man said that you really put the graft in. Like, what was it that you were doing? I know you said you had to try and get your music out there, but what did you personally do to try and sell yourself and try and make people acknowledge you as being the elite?
Well. This is what happened. Yeah, So Solid had the game in a wrap, in a headlock, and we're the other crew in South. Yeah, from the Blue Borough side. So Solid had it in a wrap, and then it kind of went to the east side, and Essentials came up during that moment where East really had a lot of momentum from Dizzy first getting signed, and you get me? And so East had it. So Essentials, a lot of the time, they was the only South crew amongst all of the crews, and they're all from East. And for Essentials to even get there, it's hard work, man. We had to turn up to places where we weren't even booked at. We had to hustle.
I mean, a perfect example is when you did a set in Rhythm Division, and the MCs before, they were all getting, because obviously Rhythm Division in East, everyone was getting that big reception, like from the East crews and all the thing there. Yeah. And then you lot came as like, even though you were acknowledging the Grime Sets being one of the biggest, you man came in there being South man in East at the time was kind of sticky, let's just say. And then you man turned up into Rhythm Division, shut down the place. But I feel for me, people rated you, but didn't want to rate you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's like...
But that was our fucking, that should have been our slogan, our motto, fam. You see?
No, it's real, man. It's real.
It's true. It's true.
But the amount- not,
That was the hardest
sorry,
part. When you came as a son.
not just in East, not just in East though. You gotta
Everywhere.
remember, we're from the borough, the beloved borough of Lewisham, fam. And in the late 90s and the early thousands, bruv, you know South London was a lot more segregated than it is now. You know them way there's a lot of places that I can't say we couldn't go. There was a lot of places we shouldn't have gone to. You know them ones there. Like
True.
we got bookings in places and like, yeah, we're gassed that we got the booking, and then when you look at where it is, we're like,
Kind of reflective, thinking, yeah, I should have reconsidered that decision when you back then.
And so, you know the joke, fam, we used to get them days where, I'll give you a quick one, yeah? Boom, it was, sometimes we used to get individual bookings, innit, yeah? Like, they might not want the whole crew, they might just want certain members and the DJ.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that, bruv. You can't argue with the guy who's promoting the thing, innit? Like, you know the ones there. If they just want Dot and Jen, then we can either say yes or no. We got me and Remedy got a booking, Brixton Mass, and it was around Christmassy time, New Year's. It was just me and him that got booked. Fam, these times I weren't driving, Rem weren't driving legally. Yeah. Fam, I rang every one of my man them. Rem rang every one of his man them. I said, Ram, man's got a fucking gig, Brixton Mass. We saying no one wanted to take us.
Yeah. Blood. For obvious reasons.
No one.
Reasons,
man,
but...
you see, all our dons, everyone's my dons, Rem's dons, Leon's dons, Jen's dons. Whenever we were playing out anywhere, everyone wanted to roll, depending on where it was.
Trust me.
Man, them from the ends at that time, you say, oh yeah, Brixton Mass. Man, we're like, whoa, don't know about that.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think there was a story you told me, Kay, that you went to a booking. I can't remember what it was. Remind me. You went on stage and then you come off and then you saw someone. I'm sure you told me. I could be wrong. There was a situation.
Are you talking about the thing where Annie got into a situation? I weren't there.
Okay, I think that's
about that. You remember, Kay?
Any situation?
Yeah.
That was Brixton Mass, but that was a different time.
Oh, right. Yeah, because you mentioned Brixton Mass to me before when we spoke before.
Yeah. That was Brixton Mass. But that was a different time.
Talk us through that.
From my recollection on that, yeah, he just, what can I say? Eddie is that kind of character, isn't it? Like he used to catch the attention of the wrong guy. Them Brixton man at the time, yeah, man, they weren't happy with him. You know them ones. So they wanted to have words, but that all got dissolved. You know what I mean?
Okay. Do you know what? I feel that I've talked about, not talk about the negative stuff, but stuff that happened. It happened for whatever reason. But I want to talk about the positivity now. I want to talk about your journey. Again, I'm still using the essentials thing as a catalyst, but what was it like? Because you man put in the flipping work, and there was a story, I think, Kay or Jendor, you told me about it. You used to go to radio stations, every single place you could get yourselves on.
Yeah.
And that is because you mentioned before that the east of London had grime in their hand. And I felt that South had to try and go the little bit extra mile because of, you're from South.
Yeah,
you're a grime crew from South. So you had to put the extra work in because you're from South. It's not, there's no, but you, man, were literally at every single station dotted around London, wherever it may be. What was that like? Just talk about the grime circuit, like the pirate days. Let's talk about that. I want to understand, like, what was it like? When Kay mentioned about how you were very hungry to do pirate stations and here and there. Talk about what it was like for you mentally. Like, what was it like? You were hungry, or was it getting a bit long for you? Like, Jendor, like, can you give them an insight as to what that was like?
Well, I can remember the difference. Like, Like there was a lot of radios. There was stations all over Southeast London, East, West, North, and the MCs had to pay. MCs had to pay, I think,
Yeah.
£5 standard.
Yeah, it's not like that now, and that's one of the things that's different. And yeah, man's been through so many different radio stations in country, like where we're at in the sticks, bro. One of the stations I've been,
I know.
yeah.
I think I know which way you're gonna say it, and I hope you told this story
Yeah,
because I
one of
love
the
it.
stations I've been, yeah. We've gone there, and the brothers running the place, big building and that. They had like one white boy like kidnapped, sitting on the floor and shit, tied up, watching the show. Like it's so much. You mad? I swear, like you be like, what? Yeah, they had a whole show. Remember that kid, man?
Yeah, I remember that stuff.
Wow.
Man went to some. You see, back in the day, yeah,
He enjoyed it.
pirate radio was anywhere it could be. You know them way there.
Yeah.
Like it would be in a man's shed, it would be in a man's garage, it would be in
Yeah.
someone's flat. Do you remember, Jen? There was one we went to. It was in Lambeth, like Waterloo, bro.
Yeah.
This was some girl's flat. Like she lived there with her kids. You know, the ones there, and she was letting the station use her kitchen. You know, them ones there.
Yeah, I've been one. Yeah.
I'm dying. Hold on, let me compose myself. Flipping, oh boy.
Yeah, we went to all the any place you could think of where someone might set up something. We went there, bro. It was mad.
Yeah,
it was mad.
We was jumping over walls to get to certain locations. Like some mad shit.
Yeah.
Was it you that told me there was a fox or something one time? You must have went to a radio set or something.
Nah. That I don't know who told you that story. That I tell you that was the Light FM. Yeah. Used to be back in the day. It used to be down Junction because it was kind of linked with like Soul Solid and them, man. It was. It was a southwest radio station. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
Like we went there. I think Boss Man used to go on there regular because he was on every bloody he could get on any station within the region. You know what I mean? So he done a set there. We went with him, bruv. It was in a mini industrial estate. Yeah. So the security was kind of all right, like. But the guy had gone home. The security guy had gone home because we done a late set. We done like a 12 till 2 or something. He's gone home at like 12 o'clock. My man's left the Alsatian in the yard, bruv. You know them ones there? Listen.
I'm dying.
Man's come out. We've done the set. Bust the door. Walking towards the exit. It's a one way in, one way out thing. So we're walking towards the exit. We're seeing the Alsatian, and it's walking towards us. We're like, yo.
Oh my god! So you can tell that you man have been through a lot, but at the same time.
But remember, Jedah, when you're talking to MCs what's been making cassette tapes, remember we did this era, like Discman, all the way up to all the way up to this YouTube era, like. Once you span that time, man, not a lot of people are still spitting what are from that time. Even all the people from East, them man are like my family now. I consider them my family because we've been in this industry so long. You get me? And that's that. So naturally, when you talk to MCs coming up from that time, man, you got bare stories and shit.
Everyone will have a story. Everyone will have a story from pirate radio days.
You mentioned
it was that hectic for everybody.
You mentioned pirate radio. You mentioned how hectic it was. Obviously, you had a lot of individuals in your crew. You had Two-Face, big up Two-Face, the Pharaoh. Obviously, we bucked up not long ago. What was the problem with Essentials and Firecamp? What was that all about? Because there's not a lot you can see online about that. And obviously, I used to be with Firecamp as well. So obviously, this could be a bit, not that it's got political now, maybe back then, but what was that all about? Because you can't find anything on that online about why that even happened in the first place.
You take this question.
I don't want to get the story wrong. That's why.
I'm gonna take it. Like, this is what happened. Yeah, like they just imitated one of our hooks in it. From what I remember.
No, was it no in it?
Yeah, you can't bring it to Essentials. No, can't bring it to Essentials. No, that was Remedy's bar. That was the hook for one of our songs.
Yeah.
Which song was that?
I just remember the hook, you know. It's probably
Okay.
called Can't Bring It to Essentials, isn't it? That's what it'll probably be called.
Mhm.
Can't Bring It to Essentials. And it was a Bossman beat, I'm sure. And they came out with a you can't bring it to the fire camp. No, can't bring it. You get me?
Mhm.
No. The flow is different. The flow went, can you bring it to the fire camp? No, can you bring it to the fire? You get me? So it's pretty much the same thing. And Rema was like, you know what, these men are gunning for us, you know, so fuck it, we just gotta just
Do you feel that it was because you both had two faces on both sides?
I didn't really think it like that, you know.
I don't think so.
No?
I think the argument was the tune thing. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, yeah. So whether I'm wrong or whether I'm right, whether like we made that rhythm, it got airplayed, everyone heard it, and then they that one come out. Like,
Yeah.
so to me, at that time, I'm thinking, nah, you're trying to swing your bollocks. You're trying to swing your bollocks, fam. Like, blood.
Yeah.
Like what? Because we're little South man. You think, nah, blood. You know them ones there. Like that's the mindset I felt at the time, and
Yeah.
a couple other man felt it. Like, nah, bro, you're trying to like, what, you think you could just make the same kind of rhythm as us, and then we go to one side over it. No, it weren't that. It weren't that at all.
So was that just musical, or did that get a little bit heated?
No, it didn't get techie. It was just music, man. It was music. Everything's cool. I'm cool with them guys. Like,
Those days are over. But at the time, I remember spinning the Lethal B track and then the Essentials track, and it was just a bit like, whoa, what's going on here? It got a little bit political. A lot of people don't know. There's nothing. If you go online and type in Essentials and Fire Camp, you'll only just find both of your tunes, and that will be it. But no one understood.
Yeah, but that was all it was, though. That's all it really like came down to. We done a diss track. And did they do One Kid? I'm not sure, but that was the only diss track we done.
I don't think they did. Well,
yeah, that was the only diss track we done, and that was the end of it.
Oh, actually, now hold on a minute. Wasn't Air on the Roads mentioning Air on the Roads?
If I can recollect, that ain't got nothing to do with us.
I mean, if there was a couple of sub-lows, I missed it. You get me?
I'm not trying to reignite any old.
No.
You know there was.
I tell you what. You know what, Jedah? Yeah, there's one thing though. Part of the respect that we earned that side of the water was not that we had anything to prove. We, to a degree, we did on that side of the water, not on our side, because we knew we do our thing on our side of the water. You know them ones there.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like they knew, other crews knew that if it came to it, yeah, we would clash. We would have it out. Like, we weren't scared. We wouldn't have backed down from anybody. No one. Like, even if we got had up, we'd go out on our fucking shield. You know the way that kind of thing.
Word, B.
How do you feel, I mean, you lot repped South London from the early 2000s up until to the present day. But as I said, middle 2000s, you were celebrities. Let's be real. You were. Whether you feel that you weren't, for me, like I said, I was a boy from Hertfordshire. I would see Essentials. I'd be like, yo, like these men are on my TV. They're doing bits. How has it been going around South London where you acknowledge everyone be like, yo, like, well, guys, you're Essentials. You're repping us. Like, how was that? Was that the kind of mentality? Was that the kind of atmosphere that you were living in? Or was it literally not how people assumed? You were literally just doing your thing, going on radio, people that be like, yeah, well, go on, that was it. And then that would be it. Or did you really feel that you had some status back then?
Yeah.
yeah. Simple as that. Yeah, basically.
Not gonna lie. Yeah, man. We weren't fucking kings of the ends or anything like that. Because, fam, you gotta understand, you know hood lifestyle, yeah? There's different food groups. Mm-hmm. You know them ones there? Yeah? You got the man that can spit, you got the man that kicks ball, you got the road man, the shotters. Like every man's got their table, but each table respected each other. You know them ones there. So when we used to go out on a social thing, yeah, we used to get love from the man them that kickball semi-pro and the top shotters on the ends and all that. We used to get that respect because we're repping them. We're not making the ends look like dickheads. You know them ones there, like
you're repping the ends.
But
It's as simple as that.
essentials in our ends was a thing where the people used to go to the rave and say they're essentials to try and get in.
Where? No way.
That was like a thing what used to happen regular.
that happened a few times.
Like, essentials there already, like no, they just
that happened a few times still.
That's mad. A really important question is, obviously now social media plays a big part in musicians, grime artists, music and singers, whatever. For you, early 2000s again, that you didn't have that kind of, that kind of ability, that kind of platform. Did you use social media to benefit your music, or did you just have it there? It was just there. We didn't really use it too tough to promote.
We jumped on that late. We jumped on it late. You get me? Because we done everything back then as a collective. So like one person didn't run off and do, like, you get me? We done it late because we done it more as a collective. Like, yeah, we should do this now, or like hold back from doing that now. We'll all do it later. So that's one of the things that I think we should have jumped on a bit earlier. You know what I mean? But it was so early them days. That was like early MySpace days. You know what I mean? I think we could have utilized it a lot more in the essentials days as it started hitting everywhere. We left that like mad late.
Yeah. How about UK? Was it for you the same as well?
Yeah, I agree. We were late, and a lot of things in our time, you gotta remember it was like a football team, but you got the players and then you got the back staff. You know them ones there. Yeah. We had man around us that wanted to do things and
for you
put up website and do certain things and so we're like, all right, cool, yeah, do that. But if we don't formulate, who are we to blame? We can't blame my man. Like, we're the ones that gave man the go ahead. You know them ones there. So in some things, I feel we should have took charge ourselves. Maybe the social side of it might have grew more. You know what I mean?
At the same time, you have to obviously be you were younger that day. You didn't really know to a certain extent what you needed to do. Like you heard about it, you kind of brushed it off. But it's only now these days you realize like the importance of you should have did it by yourself, and you never know. Like I mean, look at YouTube. YouTube people are popping off 1 million views on stuff they've already put on recently. Imagine you had put all your stuff yourself back then. It could have been a whole.
And you got to remember when it came to visuals, we didn't have YouTube like that. We were on a
Channel U.
We had Channel U, fam.
Which leads on to my next question. So Channel U, for me, like I said, a boy from Hertfordshire, that's where I got to see Jendor.
Where in Hertfordshire are you from?
Oh, a little bit near Watford.
Man, you see, like that, even back then, I done sets in
Area nightclub. Yeah, Bletchley.
I done sets in Bletchley and Leighton Buzzard.
Yeah, that's near Bedfordshire still. Yeah, near Hertfordshire. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. People. Yeah, and the thing is, people will look at it now and think, so what? You went to Bletchley and stuff like that. But back then, that was massive because again, you were a grime artist doing bookings in all over UK, not even just in London. So that's what I'm saying for you guys. That was massive. Like, if you hear of it now, you don't hear grime crews going to different parts of the UK and doing sets and doing PAs and whatever. It's crazy how the grime scene has changed. Hey, you mentioned Jendor obviously moved to OGs when obviously Essentials kind of went their separate ways. What happened with UK? Did you move to the OGs, or did you just think, you know what, I'm just gonna leave it as that?
Tried to just after Jen left, and I stayed with Rem for a little while, done a little work, and then it just dissolved.
Do you know
It
why
wasn't-
it dissolved? Did you feel that because you didn't have, it wasn't the same anymore?
Partly that, and partly I can only speak for myself.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, my drive for that at the time wasn't as a priority as it should have been. You got caught, you know what I mean? It's not even an excuse, but
I think, do you know what it is? I think when
you
you're
just get
doing
caught up. You get caught up in South London life, bro, and you think, right, should I do that or should I do that? You know, them ones there, and
but you're doing it for such a long time.
you got
sometimes you need a
devil
little
and the
break.
angels playing games with you. You know, them ones there.
Mm.
Jendor,
So it was one of that.
You-
I took my foot off the pedal, and then eventually I stopped moving.
But my question is, K, why did you take? I mean, I don't want to go into specifics. Everyone has their own personal reasons, and I respect that. But are you able to tell us a reason why you took your foot off the? I know you mentioned about you had to do South London life, but what was it? Because you were the best of the best. You are the best of the best. Still, in my eyes, you are. I did a set with you not long ago, and I was like, yeah, still got it. But at that time,
thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
man. What I mean, for someone who was in the fast lane to take your foot off the pedal just like that, what was it? Was it more of a personal thing, or was it musically? You thought, you know what, I've kind of lost the hunger now because it's not the same anymore. I had something which I'm used to, and now it's not there.
It's that I would say that there's a percentage of that, but I would say, you know that saying, if I knew then what I know now, you know that I feel I wasn't, in terms of that and me, I wasn't educated enough to take myself forward, as opposed to many years later, I knew the game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like at that time, I don't feel I was self-educated enough to take myself forward. You know the ones there.
So I think
I needed someone. Yeah, no, I needed
guidance.
Yeah, not gonna lie to you. And part of that was because my own doing was in the growth of essentials, and that I didn't teach myself anything. I just went with the flow of my brothers. You know them ones.
Yeah, you mentioned how you were used to structure, and obviously there were structures in place when you came into essentials. And obviously, once you take that structure out, you're so used to knowing that structure and just going with the flow. And once it's gone, you're thinking, well, it sounds to me, Kay, that you kind of reassessed your priorities and thought, you know what, I'm not that kind of person to start taking and rebuilding that structure myself. You're kind of at the time you were like, you know what, I've got other things to focus on as opposed
But do you know what? It took a few years after to realize, because from the day I first picked up a microphone and even till now, you still, man, no, fam, you fire rare. But you look in the mirror or you hear yourself and you think, you know what I mean? You doubt yourself a little bit. But I see even till I got into my mid-20s, my later 20s, I knew, yeah, all right. If I was to set sail again, I know how to steer the ship.
Yeah.
You know the ones there. I don't need a captain or a cabin crew or nothing like that. Like, I know how to steer the ship myself. You know what I mean there.
Jendor, you mentioned before how you moved to the OGs. I would say any start the OGs.
No, I didn't
or
move.
Did you both start?
OGs didn't exist when I was in Garage Central. It did in my mind only, but it didn't move. I actually just left. Innit? I just phoned Rem away and just said, you know what, bro, I'm gonna do my own thing. You know what I mean, and crack on with it. And left.
So you said that you rang Rema. I want to focus on that. This is where I really want to focus, which is why I asked that question.
Yeah.
The moment that you left Essentials, you spoke to Rema without any filter. What was the conversation that kind of went place, and how did it go? Okay,
Yeah, Jen. Yeah, Jen. I want to hear this.
It wasn't even long or dramatic or nothing. He thought I was joking, innit? Like, he said, nah, this is a joke, man. It's like an April Fool's thing, innit? I was like, nah, blood, like, it was just a quick thing. I just said, you know what, bro, I want to do my own ideas. Like, he already knew, Rem already knew I wanted to do my own thing from time. So when it went a little bit funny and any and Rem is beefing and any ain't in the Essentials no more, it's like, all right. I didn't say, all right, I'm gonna make this crew right now. I said I'm gonna do a CD, and this CD is gonna come out on my label. That's how OG started. And then I told Any, look, you gotta do your own CD now, cause we're not in Essentials no more. We're gonna pull our own weight more now. So I was cracking on with mine. I was just cracking on with it. And I said, you know what? We're just going to do a duo CD to make sure that he's got material coming out. You get me? 'Cause I'm looking out for my bro as well. And that CD, I said, we're gonna involve the man them what got love for us, like your Blacks, your Littles, and from the different crews, and give them an opportunity to do something with us, because they always wanted that from when we was in Garage Essentials. You get me? So that's how the OG Season album came together. It was just meant to be a few features, but me and Any just doing the body of that CD. But that project picked up so much momentum that the crew just formed much quicker than I planned. Do you know what I mean? So it just happened quickly. But it started from a CD, just one CD.
You mentioned how there was a lot of momentum with OGs, and obviously it's one of the most renowned grime collectives as well, that we know of as well. But I want to relate that to Rema as well, if I may. How was it for you knowing that OGs were now picking up momentum? You had the likes of P Money, Little D, and so and so. Did you have any dialogue with Rema? Because obviously Rema, must have obviously seen your progression and thought, well, bloody hell, like you guys are.
Do you know what? Time went so quickly following that. Yeah, it was like the 2 years from OG Season dropped was like a blur. Everything just happened really quick. A lot of things was happening quickly. A lot of good work was getting done. So time just went quickly. But I did kind of just wonder two times, like, what's the man them doing, Because I wanted Essentials to still be successful, you get me? I just wanted my own thing, but I wanted Essentials to still be successful, them ways there. But no, I didn't. Anytime that I ever bumped into him, I was just asking him, how's the family and that, stuff like that.
Okay, so you kept it humble. Okay, well, that's good to hear. Cool. But, and you know what? And I know Kay has answered this question in a previous interview as well, but being a grime DJ, I have to know, and a lot of people will be it's been on everyone's, mouth for years. But Essentials, everyone, we want Essentials back. And if they don't understand the dynamics as to why it potentially can't happen, it seems to me deep down for both of you, deep down in your hearts, you would want it to happen because you miss what you used to have. You miss having that success and the collectiveness, and you, man, just, killing it together and just knowing each other's bars. That's the best thing about it. Like,
do you know what? Sorry to cut in there, Jedah, but do you know what I respect about Essentials as well? One of the things what we done good, what I respect, we done a lot of practice, Jedah. Like, we linked up a lot. Like, we had to link up at least 3 times a week, at least one for radio, one for a meeting, and one for a set. Most of the time, we didn't even want to go. That's how regular we was linking up. We all go and live our own lives, and that was like a real job. Meetings, every meeting's an argument and shit. We can never agree on shit. And meetings and the practice and the hours of practice what we put in together. You get me? Spending money and going practice in some nice places, yeah. It was dope with mirrors all around you so you can see how you're moving. So, you get me? And that's how we synchronize so well on a set. because of what we done in practice, and now regular we done it. So that's one of the things that I remember. I miss that as well, because things like that get you mad sharp over time.
Well, it's so evident, and when you watch your radio sets, it's just incredible. Like you're literally on point. The sharpness from the bars to the mixing, it's just like incredible, and it shows because you both of you said, yeah, there was Rema who like to orchestrate and have a structure, and like you said, you met 3 times a week, even though it was long. It was benefiting you in the long run. In a way, even though you said like, oh, there is some conversations where this got a bit too controlling. To some extent, it was actually for your benefit, to a certain degree.
So a lot of things was good, but some things I think I would have done it better myself. So gotta take the bad with the good sometimes. You get me? But some things, yeah, I would have done a bit better.
So that is my next question for both. I'll start with Kay first. What would you have done differently back then, which you obviously acknowledge now? What would you have done apart from the internet thing which we've discussed? What would you have done personally differently? So,
what in that time? What in the crew and that? Or
yeah. Reflecting, because obviously you must have done a lot of reflection. You must feel, I should have done this. I would have done that. What?
No, I think I just would have pursued more of a solo thing, like, because at the time, and at that time while I was in Essentials, the demand was there. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot of things that I done on my own, and like I've made tunes for so many different people. You know what I mean? And it was just mad that that's my biggest regret. I didn't pursue my path externally from them.
How about
who knows where we would have been today? You know what I mean?
Kidman could have come to OGs, Kidman could have come to OGs. It's just that where he was already in Essentials, he would have to make a decision himself to leave Essentials to come to OGs.
Even with that, because I ran into any, God rest his soul, a couple of years after, while you man were in the swing of it, you know what I mean? And yeah, I ran into him on road one time, and we had a little chin wagon and that cleared the air that there was rumors circulating at the time with both our names in it that were on a negative. So I ran into him, we cleared the air, like, do you know what I mean? There was no animosity between us.
But you see what I like to do as well? I like to purposely put myself around as much hungry different MCs as possible to sharpen my sword. You know what I mean? There. So it kind of helped me even more having these man them around me. You get me? Because there was
look what happened. Look what happened in the long run, though. Like all of them man grew and went on to massive things, fam. So it was a blessing, innit?
Of course.
Hey, you mentioned. So Jendor mentioned how, like, he was trying to be around other MCs to sharpen himself, and obviously yourself being out of the game for a while, I know deep down grime is within you, and obviously it's still there from time to time. Do you dip into the grime scene here and then, see what's going on, and like try and spit bars now and then to yourself, or do you just keep it humble? You know what? I've done my time. I just listen to the music, and that's as far as it goes.
Mate, a magician never forgets how to bust 2 tricks. You know them ones there, like. You know them ones there, like, fam. You were one of who hasn't seen me in a long time, and you see me stretch my legs a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it never. If you got it, you got it. You know them ones there. Like, I'm not the best. No way. but I always want to be known as, when my time come and they put me in a box, always recognize K.Dot Kidman was one of the hardest.
Man from
You know them
Brooklyn.
ones there.
Well, you say that, but Jendor will vouch for me this. But both you and Jendor, like I said, you go on YouTube now, you put on any essentials kind of related track on YouTube. I swear to you, look at the comments, and you probably have done this. If you haven't, I told you this before. Look at the comments, and there are people who are like young generation who are like Jendor and K.Dot Kidman were the best ever. That word ever, I underlined on my notes. The best ever in grime till this day.
TBE.
Yeah.
TBE.
And I'm telling you, I mean, how does that make you feel? I mean, Jendor, I'll start off with you. You're still relevant in the grime scene. You're still here. You're still killing it. You're still putting out tracks. And I know that you're a solo artist now, but how does that make you feel? Like when you reflect, you look on the YouTubes and stuff like that, and even the reception you get on Instagram where people are like, oh my God, like Jendor's here. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel very humbled. Like with anything that you put in a lot of time and energy into, you know what I mean? Like it makes you feel humbled when you get like love back from people, you get me? Because people like we kind of put our lives into this, you know what I mean? So anything that if you didn't get no love and you put your life into it, that will hit you in the chest a bit.
Of course.
Just humbles, man. A man appreciates all of those.
If you're going to, especially when you've done sets of people being kidnapped and that, you're not getting, you better expect recognition, brother.
Let me just say, situation. The guy was a big guy.
I'm just joking, bro.
Money or not, but he had a good time. He wasn't tired out. He was just sitting there, but he had a good time because he was watching us spray.
Well, this is what I'm saying to you, brother.
He was like, he had I think he was. No, if you remember, kid, yeah, he had such an amazing time. It was like, we asked him if he enjoyed the show and this and that. He was like, he wanted to be there for that moment. He definitely wanted to be there.
Well, he probably did then.
The man them what brought us on, they were very professional, like bare mad love, like homage. You get me? But they had that situation, like, oh yeah, don't worry about that. And you get me? So the hospitality was all the way up. It's strange, isn't it? But it's funny.
Hey, how does that for you? I'll put the same question to you. Do you go on YouTube? Do you look at the comments? Do you look at the forums? Because there's tons of grime forums with both of your names on it, especially yours, Kidman, because obviously you're not in music no more. But do you look at the comments? Do you acknowledge that people still find you relevant and still?
I haven't in a long time. I have done in the past, and yeah, it's very humbling, fam. It's very humbling, especially now in this era where it's people still remember, man, so to speak. You know the way they're like, it's been like fucking how long? It's been many years since that people have seen me out and about like that. So yeah, man, it's very humbling, and like it makes all that graft back then worth it. All them late nights, and all of that, them cold nights, it makes it all worth it, fam.
Does it make you want to come back?
Yes. yeah.
Oh,
you know what?
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, it does, because it makes like I say, it makes what I done back then with the man them worth it. And two, I've done a lot of things in the time gap. I've lived different lives since that time there, and there's been no better feeling. Do you know what I mean? Like there's that whole process, that whole lifestyle. There's no better feeling than that. Like grime music is a unique thing. It developed from us, the UK boys, you know them ones there. Like and the way it's blossomed and manifested into what it is now. Oh my days, no one saw that coming.
Well, that's and
Nobody saw that coming.
and you've said it right there and then that you, man, were the foundation of look at the music that we are in today. It's in the charts, it's all over the world now, and you guys were one of the main catalysts, the main platforms that made the music that we listen today flourish and go global. And that you need to acknowledge. And I'm hoping that you, man, do. Because it may sound a bit crazy. Think, what? Just us, man, from South? Oh, really? You actually did? Because you can go to man's in Czech Republic and mention essentials. But yeah, I know. And they can read off your names on the top of your head and all your bars.
Big respect for that. Big respect for that, Jedah. The first time I bought Freezer, right, from Czech Republic, yeah. Jan Freezer Beats. And he came to England, and I hooked up with him, made sure he's cool and that. And he was like, he just kept asking me about Essentials. And I was like, yeah, bro, that was back in the day. It's OGs now. And he was like, yeah, but Essentials, Kidman, Bossman, like, the man.
That's what I'm saying.
So the Essentials thing had such an impact. Even though I was doing OGs and had moment, I was like, no, Freeze, it's OGs right now. It's OGs.
That's a perfect example. Like, this is what I'm saying to you. And I know you to both of you are very humble people. I know you. But I, at the same time, I think people who are watching this will agree with me that you are one of the core foundations of what we, especially me, especially Jendor as well, are thriving on these days and loving and enjoying because of the stuff that you gave to us in the early 2000s. And like I said, it wouldn't be here and it wouldn't be as prominent, it wouldn't be flourishing if it weren't for you, man. So before I end this, I just want to ask both of you, and I've asked this briefly. I mean, do you know what? I'm going to congratulate Jendor on this first and foremost, because, hey, I wouldn't be able to speak to you if it weren't for Jendor. And it's the truth. And Jendor is the catalyst, because you know what? It seems to me that Jendor has been the man on both sides. Like, you still speak to everyone. Am I not right, Jendor? Like, you still, and I know K, that obviously you're doing your own thing, and but you're still there because Jendor's, dipping on both sides, if you know what I'm saying. We were gonna do something not long ago, and I'm not gonna go into that. But again, Jendor, that's a credit to you because you still keep close to everyone, but at arm's length. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, I just stayed in it, man. Remember, I was in it from Garage Essentials to OGs, this, that. So and then he passed away, God bless my bro. And so it's like, I'm looking around like, oh shit, okay, I got Blacks and Littles and P and OGs and that, but NE's gone, Essentials is gone now. And I've just had to just keep reinventing myself, man. Like, I went and done the Lord of the Mics free to just keep myself, make people know, in case they weren't sure. You get me? I had to do that just to make them know and just hang in there, bro. You know what I mean? And I'm just here now. Like, the last of a dying breed, bro. But Kidman's one of the ones. So 100%. I was like, and he's there now. It's not like he's gone. He's there. He can come back at any time whenever he wants.
Hey, do you think, could we see anything from you? Do you want to, or is there something that we're going to see from you, or do you think it's going to take some time to build?
There's been, as you know, there's been radio silence from me for a while, but as you congratulated him, thanks to Jendor, there will be a resurgence.
I want to see everyone do good, man. I want to see everyone make it. I want to see everyone do good. And if me being in a certain position can make certain things happen, that's exactly what I want to do. So, but even Jedah even gave me the idea. Jedah was onto me, was like, get the Essentials, man. Like, let's see if we can hook up a set and this, and I thought about it, and I said, you know what? That's actually a good idea. But with Kid, I always kept Kidman in the loop anyway, outside the Essentials, linking up, doing a set thing. So Kidman was on the project with Lamont, the Loads of Money project. Kidman's on the remix, Murky Ace and Novelist. So it ain't like Kid's completely in the dark. He's there still. He's there. But I just kept that position to just keep other people in the loop that are so talented around, man, from way back in the days, even up to now. You get me? And that was even one of the reasons why I done the OGs project the way I done it. It was just to unite. That I want to see everyone winning it. It's like part of my character. You get me? But I just grown into a part of myself now where I want to focus a little bit more on myself now. But I still do cool shit like get Kidman and Pepper on projects, man. Them two, man.
I mean, like
Pepper.
I said, well, I mean, like I did this. I mean, I listened to the set we did not long ago, and I keep listening over and over. I watched the videos that Jendor recorded, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't want to swear, but like, it is incredible because I got to witness it personally. Think of it, what people, the new generation get if they get to witness you, man. Now, like, I can't even explain how incredible. And you know what it is? It'll be a breath of fresh air for the scene right now because, like me, I'm in the scene and I love it, but there needs to be something different. And I'm hoping what I'm saying right now will be motivation. Said, you know what? The resurgence needs to happen sooner or later because I'm telling you now, something needs to change. We need a breath of fresh air, and we need, you know, it may not have to be essentials, but it may be something essentials, kind of, you know, related, tated, you know, just a little taste of essentials, but not really essentials. But you know, do you get what I'm saying?
Well, you're definitely gonna see some ill shit from me, Kid and Pepper, because we keep the link. So you're definitely gonna see some cool stuff. So people will get to see that kind of vibe. You get me? There might not be a couple people there because some people are doing different things in life, but you definitely see some ill stuff from me, Pepper and Kidman, definitely.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna leave it there, but I just want to say, for me, like I said, I know you, man, but for me, still, I'm fanboying right now because, like I said, I bought. Even though I know Jendor, I power Jendor on a regular basis. I'm with Jendor quite regularly, but again, but even just look at you on a computer screen, I'm thinking, you know what? And a lot of people will agree that you guys, you molded me into what I'm doing right now. So. And it won't just be for me, it'll be for a lot of other people. And you are missed. You guys are missed from the bottom of my heart. You're missed because you were something so massive, and then we don't have that no more. When I realized that you guys have not disappeared, but when you're in separate ways, it hurt. It hurt a lot of people. It's like when you see a musical artist pass away, it kind of hits home, and you guys are still here, but you're not here, if that makes sense. And I'm looking forward. I'm so looking forward to what you have to come. It may not be now, may not be next month, it may not be next year, but I know deep down that there's something coming, and I'm looking forward to it because you know what? It'll be happy for me because I love grime, but most of all, I'll be happy because for both of you and Kay as well, that something good is gonna happen, and I know it is, and I'm looking forward to it. So,
Word.
So,
big up, man.
Respect, man.
But
all I'm saying, listen, thank you for your time. It's greatly appreciated. I feel that this interview was needed. Jendor, I don't really need to talk about Jendor because Jendor is still killing it right now in the scene. So I don't really need to discuss what Jendor's doing because Jendor's Jendor, K.Dot's K.Dot. I don't want to talk about what's next and what's it. I feel that the people needed to know the history about your success and why you guys are still relevant till this day. We're in 2021 and you're relevant. So that is why I wanted to talk to you, and a lot of people wanted to know about this. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. It's greatly appreciated.
Big up, my bro.
Respect.
Blessings,
All right, blessings. In a bit.
Respect.